Welcome, all of you, to World Unity Week 2024 on this beautiful Monday. I'm Hasina Patel from the Hague Center for Global Governance, Innovation and Emergence, and I am honored to introduce my colleague, Kara Stonehouse, also from the Hague Center, with a session called Love Organized, Global Conscious Collaboration and Thriving of our Movement. We all need love. Thank you, Kara.
All need love to be organized. So that was one of Martin Luther King's major quotes. He said, the people who love peace need to get as organized as the people who love war. We know we have organized crime and organized greed, but it's really time for organized love to come into the world. And with all the new tools and technology that are alive these days, this is really becoming possible for us. And this is our work now as conscious co-creators to bring this into being. So the theme for today is these building this global collaboration. And so it's going to be, I'd like to introduce my co-speaker with me today, Felipe Leal. He's been working on Gaia Commons and Gaia Hub for the last 10 years, building many networks and relationships with indigenous people, with bioregional regeneration folks, and building up a vision and a team who can make this transformative change happen. So welcome, I'd like to say welcome to Felipe. And
hey, family.
Yeah.
Nice meeting you.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm Kara Stonehouse. I'm from the Hague Center, and we do mesh working and bringing all the co-creators together to be more effective together. And so this process, or this vision, that we like to call that love organized, that process of mesh working, the co-creators to build new systems that work even better. And so I was in World Unity Week, and I was being inspired by the eco-governance of Shelley and Jan, inspired by Annalise Smitsman's Earthwise Constitution, and playing with other people in the field about regenerative economics, and doing a case study on the seeds work. And I was starting to see like all the pieces are here and they don't work apart from each other. But if we can put them all together, I started to see a way that this can all work together as a whole. And so through World Unity Week, I always get a lot of energy, and like I'm up all night doing something each year, making the theater troupe or in one case, this love organized kept sort of flowing through. And so I started writing down all this vision and how it could all go together. And then I would always see you, Felipe, in the chats, and you would always say something about, oh, the institutions and the organizations, we've got to get it all coordinated. And I thought, oh, who's this person? I always like what he's saying. And so we connected, and then I shared you the writings of Love Organized, and you said, oh, well, look what we're doing. Look what we've been doing for the last 10 years. And I was like, oh, it's like, we're halfway there. It's like almost done. So we were like, okay, I think we're aligned. I think we should work together and bring this into the world more. So I'd just like you to say a few words of welcome and introduce yourself a little more. Felipe, however you'd like.
Well, hi again to all our relatives in the world and people. I'm sure that we are working on the same mission, so I'm glad to be gathered here in this virtual circle with you all. Well, I don't have too much to say about me personally. I feel we are just, or I am just a weaver. So I've been a musician for quite a while. So that's part of my spiritual connection to life, but also, of course, connecting to nature, to different sacred places and indigenous communities. That's just a little bit about me. And in reality, what brought me here, or what keeps me here, is that around 2008, we started with friends envisioning how could we take all this information that we were receiving into the world. And first, we just started envisioning different places where where this vision was, this knowledge and wisdom was shared, like holistic houses, holistic centers and retreat centers. And well, that's how we started. And in 2012, we went to a sacred pilgrimage between Mexico and Guatemala. And we received a couple visions, but the one that relates directly to this it was actually Mother Earth telling us, you got everything you need, and you just need to organize. And well, from that moment, I really focus on, or we start focusing on how to organize the movement, because yeah, as Cara was saying, we have all the pieces, the technology, the knowledge, digital technologies, social technologies. So yeah, we start just weaving the threads that are already existed, and that's what we've been doing for the last 10 years or more. Thank you.
Yeah, so great. What we're going to do today is I'm going to present for a few minutes about this concept of love organized and what's this strategy or vision that we could be possibly living into, and why is it important to have this kind of vision articulated, and how might we start building it together to be really effective. And then Felipe will share with the Gaia Commons, what are some of these tools, governance structures, and tokenomics that make it really work? And and what's the process we need to go through to get them to work even at the next level, to prototype them more, fund their completion, and so that we can all start using those things. Yes, so I'll share my screen now. Okay, so what is love organized? Yeah, love organized is the potential for our movement to say for ourselves, what are we willing to do, create, to make the transformation in this world possible? What systems are willing to set up and live into an agreement so we're going to make together? And can we work together quite strategically as well as emergently, so that we can see the impact that we want in the world? So it's not about what those governments should do, or what that country should do, or what those people should change. It's really about us. What can we do together that could create the new system that perhaps makes the old system obsolete? So taking the Buckminster-Fuller strategy here. So there's there's a few portions to this that make it work. And one part is the supportive community. And so that's really the key that's coming out of World Unity Week and all of these activities, is that when we can be in these pods together and creating community, then it's almost like a church model, where we're there for each other, we support each other, and then when we need to, we can also sort of tithe or support into a system that helps us all do bigger infrastructure projects together. So we need to build some cathedrals together. And so and I feel like a lot of groups are already starting these kinds of pods and pieces that will come together to create this. And there's bioregional city connections that are happening. And the second piece is the alternative currency. So as people in sustainability and regeneration, think about the root causes and the systems change that needs to happen so that we can take care of our world. It comes down often to this debt-based economy that's always forcing us to extract more and more, to grow and grow, and the way we do it right now is by extracting resources from the planet and from people. And so what if we made money work differently? What if instead of money being created out of debt, which motivates people to do work from the fear of having to repay that debt? What if we created money from love? And the motivation was for personal thriving and making the world a better place. What if that was our operating system? And that's what these alternative currencies strive to do. And the third is getting really good, and with these alternative currencies as well, this transition with business, like we'll have to use normal fiat money for quite some time. So we'll have to, I think it's a real big step for our movement to say, how do we use the power of business and capitalism really effectively so that we can grow and thrive ourselves and be well resourced as we create these new governance systems, because it's going to take time for them to work and to make sense. And then what that can lead to is this institutional change that will become possible as we create prototypes that make sense in the world, that show the good outcomes and show how people are thriving, and we can make that institutional change. So the value flows right now, these are my late night sketches. As you see that your life, I'm taking the sort of personal motivation point of view. So how is somebody going to choose to live into this new system? Why are they going to choose it? And how is that going to make a difference? So now we work really hard. We have our debt-based mortgage, and then we pay a lot of, the bank gets a lot of the profit for that, and we pay our taxes, and that goes to the government, and they have to keep up the systems and often have a lot of military costs as well. And for our energy, and we're using the oil, and that's going a lot to those billionaire families. So there's large flows of our work and energy that's going to feed a lot of unhealthy flows and a lot of wasted value. And so if we could create these new systems that cycle it back, where you have your careers based on what makes your soul come alive, and you giving more, and the things that are healthy for society are valued more in this currency system, then you don't have to make that sacrifice of, I have a job that's bad for the world, but I just have to pay the bills. But no, I pay the bills by doing a job that's good for the world. And the more I care for people and do what would be volunteer work, now you earn up your points for doing that work, and then you're taken care of by the community at your end of life. And so you know that it's not a risk or a sacrifice to be yourself and to do good in the world. And so we shift where we're paying our money. Instead of paying it to the normal mortgage system, we pay it to the Gaia mortgage system. Instead of paying it to the Netflix, we pay it to Humanity Stream. So we start to shift all our resource flows into these positive regenerative ways of being. And then we try and have a more balanced lives through that as well. And so we're always learning and teaching each other. And then slowly what we can happen is, this is a picture of like the old system and then the new system, and then a family can start to transition from the old system into the new systems slowly. So you have in the old system, you have your citizenship, your social security, your old age pension. Maybe one of you has a job in the normal system and your university degree, and then you start to transition into the Gaian system, where you get even more relevant education, more purposeful work building the new systems, and you get organic food and alternative healthcare and global spiritual community. And then the more the system grows, people will be able to live their whole life in the new system. And then you have a choice if you can play in the destructive economy or the regenerative economy. And so we feel like in a 50-year time frame, we can be able to transition to a system like this if we create the governance systems and an online frameworks where you can get jobs, you can do learning, and then pick a job that you want to do within the system, and then you get paid in this alternative currency. And so then you have a career choice with that. So you don't have to go to expensive university and get a fancy job. If you go to do the Gaian learning and get a Gaian job, you're also taken care of, and have your retirement plan, and it makes sense for people. So it's a real choice. And then we can just build out those networks of farms and grocery stores and schools that are regenerative, that are all being part of the system. And then we can get, as we make more money, we can do bigger projects like big regenerative condos and hospitals and retirement facilities, and those start to generate income as well. So then we start with little businesses and grow them up to big businesses, and then we can be caring for more people, giving more ecological schooling to people, giving more, investing in more regenerative agriculture and that sort of thing. And then we can start to bridge people over to these Gaian systems over time. And so we could potentially be increasing the numbers exponentially over time, so that we would have at least 1 billion people by 2060. And then that would be a tipping point that maybe the new system can start to become the normal system. So these are really big ideas, obviously, and it might not all happen exactly as planned, clearly, but I think that trying to think in a big way that puts it all together for ourselves is valuable to us. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen for a bit. So there's a sort of a 5-step strategy that I'm seeing to this. So one is creating prototypes in at least 3 cities on different continents. So we get together all the pioneering co-creators. We look at all the tools and systems that we have already started and tweak them and complete them and create this system where we have the learning and the earning and the currencies working. And then we pay people to do the job of the governance and the connecting and the making the systems work and making the small businesses work, so that we're sort of getting that wheel engine going. So we have to prototype it, and there's a lot of relationship building that has to happen, a lot of agreements we have to make. And so we work on that in a few places to get it working. And we can do really simple prototypes. We can use tools like, I don't know if Amber's here yet today, but she's helping us use the tool of Coda. So instead of doing really complicated coding and needing to pay people a lot of money, you can put a lot of spreadsheets and financial tools and decision-making tools together, just by linking them together, and it's all in one place, and it's easier to use and to prototype with. So that's sort of the beginning step 1. And then at the similar time, we're developing those network pods of people who are spending time together and taking care of each other and creating that sort of church feeling in the pods around the world. So David Gershon's Peace on Earth movement is creating some of these pods. There's United Religions organization is making similar pods, and there's other groups that help you meet and think about your purpose together and that sort of thing. So I think it's important that everyone has a tribe, as a little circle, that they meet regularly, they care for each other, and that they also have a facilitator who's linked into this bigger system. So as we start to come up with these tools and alternative currencies, someone is there for you to onboard you, help you learn how to use it, get you involved, and say, yeah, why don't you, this job is open, I think it'd be really good for you. Why don't you go for this job and make the currency, and it pays you partially in fiat, and then just encouraging everyone to use and become a part of the system. And there might be some membership fees as well that help pay for some of the governance and organizing. And then, and at the beginning, we have to fund the movement. So we'll have some impact investment streams where we need to pool some money together so that we can invest in businesses and make businesses and get them working. And we'll have to, at the beginning, we'll need grants and philanthropy to do the sort of prototyping work. And then in Fund the Movement, we're really becoming savvy business folks. And then the next step, the third step, is the bridging people over. So until this point, it's really been just the conscious co-creators, just the really regenerative people. And in this 4th step, we want to start to really tell the world about it. Say, this is working, look at it, it's amazing, and start to onboard more and more people into the system so it grows and grows. It'll be more and more functional as it grows. And then that's when it gets the bigger. Step 5 is becoming mainstream and making that real transformation. And when one extra piece in this is the wisdom that we're leading from. So in our governance, we're putting wisdom at the center. So we're having Indigenous councils who are holding the space. And when we choose who's in leadership, we're choosing really from integrity, and we're choosing from experience. And rather than voting in a popular way, you have to really earn your space in the leadership positions with integrity, maturity, and experience. And connecting with this wisdom that Indigenous communities still hold about what good governance is, and then bringing that into the modern realm together. So in that way, we're bringing the eagle and the condor together in this process as well. And so the Bridging Continents group with Anne-Marie and Chief Phil Lane are related and in the same field, sort of swimming in these waters together. And we're starting to come together to be more of a movement, a cohesive movement together. So I think I'll just pause there. And I just wanted to see if there's any reflections or questions. And I had invited Jarvis, if he wants to come up, you can raise your hand if you just want to do that now. And see if you have some reflections from some of the work you've done in the world. And because you have the business, you have mygreenpod.com, this green lifestyle brand. And so I think you have a lot of the pieces of this, some of the pieces of this puzzle already that you've worked on. So I'd just like to hear some of your reflections and thoughts.
Yeah, thank you, Carl. I mean, firstly, thank you for such a beautiful presentation. And I really enjoyed the visuals. They were just so full of life. Amazing. Gosh, I mean, firstly, it feels wonderful. So thank you for, putting that information into the manifest. I really appreciate that. That's the beginning of how we co-create, right? For my experience, just a little bit of background for everybody, just to get a handle on who I am and where I come from. I trained with a female shaman indigenous to the UK for 14 years before getting into business. So I understood about listening to nature and, beginning to, through years of practice, being able to perhaps be able to communicate what nature is teaching us as our educator. So that was my training. Then I got into business, and whoa, what a vicious world business is. So I very quickly got knocked around from pillar to post and realized that through guidance, not only from human guidance, but from nature and the guidance from nature, I was asked to specifically focus on sustainability, because everybody that was interested in sustainability were more operating from heart, from the vibration of heart, than not, that often had purpose, that understood values, and just were in business, good business. So I'd really focused on that with my skill set, and went on to launch various projects, National Geographic Green and Green with the Guardian, and now My Green Pod, all extensions of that. So I've worked with millions and millions of people in terms of influence, and tens of thousands of businesses in terms of networks. For me, what you've described is a very natural transition that I feel is happening right now. I think it's important to say that, maybe the world that you are describing is available to us today.
Wow.
The difference is that we either choose to be on that side of the newness or operating in the old ways. So my personal experience is that there is an opportunity for us to live at the moment fairly small individually with a small team operating in the space that you've described, but maybe that in its essence is what actually helps it to create, right? They're the seeds of creation. I'm certainly experiencing that. I've been in the sustainability space, having trained with a female shaman for 15 years before that, so 30 years. I've seen a massive transition from what we describe as an old paradigm that isn't working into this opportunity of this new paradigm, which is available to us now. That is my experience. So that's great because it certainly has been fairly recent, first of all. The other thing is that because what you're explaining is a truth, it is a sacred truth, it is an indigenous truth, it is a human truth, it is a universal cosmic truth. And there were many other truths, but that is the one that seems to harmonize with the truth of and the essence of source or the field or God or whatever you'd like to describe it. It's much quicker and easier to transmute and transfer and change the system if it's honest and truthful, which is what you've very clearly identified. So my sense is, and this is really hopefully slightly optimistic, but also what I'm feeling, the transition could be a lot quicker than you've timelined. That's a linear timeline, and we all know that multidimensionality and beingness is not linear. We can change everything with a breath, right? The problem is that we need everybody to change it with a breath. So firstly, I do sense that we have an opportunity to make things much quicker. And then lastly, I would just like to share that what nature is communicating with me is that this thing we are calling a climate crisis, which is a very human labeling theory, which, you know, we're so arrogant, we like to label everything as a human species. It's not actually quite what this is. Nature is giving us a co-creative opportunity to remember our sacred ways through adversity, through a challenge, because we only ever seem to grow and evolve through challenges. That's the way it's always been in history. So what nature's telling me is that actually, if we can at the very least stop being so arrogant thinking that we can fix this climate crisis, if we can actually step back into heart and live from that vibration of love and accept that we are part of the changes that are going on, and perhaps all we need to do is raise our vibration to the frequency of love and gratitude and appreciation, and therefore unity, which would come from that, then nature, Gaia, this cosmic, wondrous, amazing, magical, extraordinary goddess being, can transform everything around us like that. But she needs the participation of the human consciousness to evolve to the vibration of love and gratitude in order for her to be able to do what she does, which is work the magic. So that's why I believe that this could shift and transform very quickly. My sense is that we shouldn't be giving any energy to the old paradigm anymore. We simply step into the new paradigm and we invite everybody around us to come and join us there. And we will refuse not to go backwards. We will only stay in the new paradigm and hold the space and invite everybody to come and join us. I hope that has been just a little bit of how it felt from me. And do you have a question for me?
I guess I was curious about that magic when you say then she works the magic that she can work. And what do you think that is? Like, my intuition is that like she can open people's hearts, or what else can she do? What's her magic?
Yeah, well, let me give you some insight. I did some work with the UNFCCC, or the organizers of COP. So it's the UN and UNEP and ECOSOC, and it's the governing organization that kind of is behind the UN. They are very clear through working with Indigenous elders and wisdom keepers from around the world that this SDG thing that's supposed to happen by 2030 is not going to happen. There's absolutely no doubt it's not going to happen. So they're already planning and reshaping a resilience idea in terms of what do we need to do when we get to 2030, when in human terms the poo has hit the fan. So when I did that work, I was working with the highest level of UN people. One of them was the head of technology, so who dealt with tech for the UN, super high. He was at a NASA conference, and the NASA conference, he was telling me about it, was showing the Earth's vibration through different ages of time. Now, I wasn't there, so I can't quote this verbatim, but just to paraphrase, there was a slide that showed the Earth, and it had all of these magical words around it. And then the next slide, there were less words. And my friend said to the guy, could you just go back to the previous slide? Because I noticed that in that era, there was more something going on. And in this era, there was less. And he went back and he said, that's the word that's missing from this current timeline. And the word was wonder. So NASA knew that the planet had a vibration and a consciousness of wonder, and then it disappeared when we moved into the next timeline, the current timeline that we're in now. So in answer to your question is that we call it magic, but actually perhaps wonder is simply that very essence that we've lost in order to transform things very co-creatively and quickly. The beauty of it is that it feels to me like Gaia has now got back enough wonder in her beingness to be able to transform things. Now, what do I mean by that? I mean that perhaps she could very quickly, if we get out of the way, bring the temperatures down, rebalance the carbon emissions that is apparently out of kilter, create more harmonious plants and resources and things very quickly, because that's what she's brilliant at, in order to give us the resources to be able to transition from where we are currently, which is lack and greed, into abundance and love. That's what I mean in a very long-winded answer to your question. That we are forgetting that the universe and all of its parts is energy and conscious, and that we all know, even science is proving this now, that energy and consciousness can be transformed in a second. So the hologram that we're living in, if you believe that that is potentially what we are in, can just change by a flick of a switch. So we are currently living in what seems like discomfort and terribleness, and actually maybe it could be magical and nirvana or heaven on earth. And I think that's what I'm alluding to, is that let's not get caught up in the fact that we think we have a timeline to change this. And actually, we could raise our vibration, perhaps that we've experienced in previous cultures, the Aztec cultures, the Mayan cultures, raised their vibration and went to a new reality. And we just leave this one behind. Maybe that's possible.
I think a lot of us here would be with you on that and holding that intention for us in humanity. Yeah, in my poem from the consciousness of the universe, it says, oh, how I love humans. They got so clever, but then the most heartbreaking thing happened. They forgot me. They think they know better.
Exactly.
But I am knitting them a sweater 2 sizes too small. And when they come home, I will warm them by the fire and we will start again.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think we've got so caught up in doing things in a certain way because that's the system we were born into. And actually, let's just leave that behind, unhook ourselves from those systems, allow ourselves to be free-spirited, experience ourselves in the beginning in this new paradigm, and just keep inviting your friends and people that you love to come and join you. And trust me, they are. I've been working with business leaders, lords, high-level leaders for 5 or 6 years. And we all seem to be operating in a new vibration that seems to be changing the world rapidly. So it is possible.
Good. Thank you, Jarvis.
Thank you, Cara.
So let's just take a moment and just tune in with that possibility. And so I'd like to invite Felipe Leal up now from Gaia Commons and Gaia Hubs, and he's going to show us some of the tools and structures that are in place to make that even more possible. Because I feel like if we're living in our natural ways, we'd be abundant and enjoy, and if it's our systems kind of cut us off from them. So what are these new systems we can create that open us up again and free us? And then it could all happen. If we have a good system where everyone's open, then everyone can take that breath together, is my sense. So Felipe, welcome.
Yeah, thank you very much, family, and Harpies and Kara. Well, the first thing I feel to share is that this love that we are talking about is what always keeps life evolving and finding its way to to maintain life. So life is the stewardship of life itself. And when we start feeling any sort of love, because it comes in many shapes, no, it starts with loving our parents or loving our family, then loving our friends, and then probably most of us start feeling love for different other species or other groups that are not directly from our close circles. And that's when we start thinking, and oh, maybe if we organize a little bit better, I can share my harvest with my neighbors. Or so it's always love, of course. That's what we know, and it comes from everywhere in the universe. It comes from Mother Earth. It comes from different stars. Um, so yeah, basically, the big question is how much love, uh, or how much impulse do we have to share that love, and also that love comes with intelligence. So it's not just emotional love, but it's also okay. How do we share these resources that we have in this moment, and that's what basically our, as I was sharing at the beginning, what Mother Earth literally told us in that message is we have everything, literally. We have everything we need. We just need to organize. And yeah, organizing means coordination, and how, for example, the people here and the groups and the networks that are participating in these in these gatherings, in these calls, how are we coordinating? How are we putting that love in practice in terms that how do we create the greater common good with the resources that we have at this moment? And of course, nature is our main ally, for not saying our main mother. So she's also putting all her resources and her intelligence, and she's transmitting a lot of messages to many people constantly, like the Coggies and many of us here, I guess. So the intelligence, the impulse, the energy, the consciousness, it's there. And yeah, but I always have this reflection, and is all that we need is time to coordinate. If we don't give us the chance and the time to coordinate, we will just keep like experimenting. And yeah, that's part of the process, what we've been doing, having these little prototypes or small pilots. I know a lot of groups testing different social currencies, or how to live in a community, etc., etc. But at some point, we are, or I guess we are already in that point, is that we are realizing that we need to coordinate at a bigger scale to actually create the impact that is needed in terms of everything, in terms of creating the safe places that where we feel our children can grow, and find a neighbor that is safe to meet, and all these things for different people living in different places that might be very different circumstances or social conditions, but as as we are getting into the larger scale, it seems that that's when we need more coordination. No? It's like nobody's going to do it for us automatically. We all have to be part of that coordination. So part of the news or the proposal that we bring here into this circle and all the circles is that we are creating this framework where we can all start coordinating at different levels. It can be at the local level, the bioregional level, but it can also work at the global level. And we are just basically calling all the different networks and the leaders from these networks, not just that was a question in the chat when Kara finished presentation. Is not just about indigenous leaders, it's about any leader that is representing the good interest and the common good of their communities or of nature itself. So we're basically making this call for all the leaders to coordinate, to start in a coordination process where we can take the best decisions of what digital technologies should we be finishing, because most of them are already started, but now we have a lot of projects that are started but not finished. We have just like land-based projects and things like that, that as much coordination we can get. And I feel if we are all here is because there's a call for us to coordinate. That's basically what we've been doing in the last 10 years, as we were sharing, like talking group by group, person by person, to keep the relations, because it's also about relations. Now, how do we build the trust? But the trust can be transferred. Like, not everybody needs to know everybody in the world. Like, if I trust Kara and Kara trusts Harvis and Harvis trusts Meenakshi, that's how we build the trust as well. No, like it's something that can be expansive and exponential. So that's basically what we've been putting. I was going to share a little bit that in the screen. So I will make a quick presentation. But if somebody wants to say something, please interrupt me. Don't worry. Becky, you have your hand raised.
Yeah. We're presenting later this week, I think on the 22nd, and I invite you to come and learn about what the kinship way is about, because I feel it answers that call that you just made about how we can more effectively join together to affect change. So I just wanted to add that, and thank you.
Thank you very much. So, well, we are calling this first call Gaia Hub and Gaia Commons as a distributed ecosystem to stewardship all forms of life and a thriving new earth and humanity. Our mission, as you already know, is love organized, which basically is also this specific way that we are trying to bring in these three main concepts, which is collaboration, communication, and coordination, which I will explain a little bit more. So coordination, we basically are referring to the way that we are governed ourselves as a global nation. How are we distributing these, for example, resources, the things that we already have, and how are we putting that into stewardship in different ways, and how are we sharing that? So that's where collaboration also comes into place, because we know that collaboration is basically the essence of how humans organize, like when you really want to help others. And the part that we normally, as Kara was talking about at the beginning, the only thing that we need is to be sure that we are able to take care of everyone. So, for example, at the beginning, we might not be able to pay every single people in the world, but we can start measuring and say, okay, for now, let's start with these pilot projects or these 1,000 people. And so, well, of course, that's collaboration starts in a smaller scale, but it can be expanded. And then how are we communicating? So how are we sharing our knowledge, our wisdom? How is that accessible to everybody in the world? So of course, that's where new technologies also enter. Of course, we have a lot of different of these principles of how do we distribute the governance, the power of governance? How do we regenerate while we're doing all this? How do we are empowering different people? How we're innovating, adapting to changes, and catalyzing human potential. And of course, how do we are coordinating also, not just personally, individually, but also at the community or by regional level, embracing new tech. And and in that sense, or in a more specific way to put it, we are also creating these funds. The first fund is a philanthropic fund where we are just being a bridge or a channel to put those resources where they are needed the most, or let's say without any interest, without thinking in how much return will it have for this fund or for whoever is putting these resources. We also have, let's say, to make a balance, we have the investment side. So we are also thinking how can we grow this abundance, and how can we invest in projects that can actually go back to nurture the whole ecosystem. So we are not taking any profits for us. We are just reinvesting all those profits. And in the center, we have the eco-habitats, which are basically the land-based projects in general, that are the ones that are keeping that abundance, producing and reproducing the abundance, so that we have basically all the needs covered for every human. So building schools, building health centers, building all the systems that we need to thrive. And well, basically that's the last part would be, we are basically having an internal global agency where we do all this collaboration or coordination and communication. So we are inviting everybody to be a part of this. You could say, you could look as a network organization where we are not just one group, but we are coordinating between different groups to create this agency. So everybody that is offering technology or different services, or in all disciplines, we serve the projects, we serve the people in the world. We don't serve ourselves. In the second level, we have the people and communities. So that's the people that we are serving. It can be any group, any person, and all our ventures. So that's it for now. You have questions or comments, please share.
Good. I was wondering if you could share a little more about what kind of decisions need to be made, and how would we make those decisions in a distributed way?
Okay, so well, let's say let's put it more human. Like when we started this, since the beginning, we've been tapping into the field of abundance. We know there's a lot of abundance that wants to be in harmony with life, but we never thought that, okay, we will be the ones coordinating at large scale. And it's like, I mean, we were very just following the first intuitions and messages, but then we realized that there's a lot of money out there, for example, and that it wants to come for this kind of projects. And we have been contacted a couple times offering these large amounts of funding. And then we realized, okay, actually this is what most of the projects need. Like, apart, we also need to share information and knowledge and wisdom, but still most of the projects still need a lot of money to keep going or to expand, and etc. So what we realized is that most of the organizations were like going after, like, chasing the funds on their own, and everybody's struggling and going after basically even for survival, and like in a survival mode, like we need to survive individually, we need to survive as an organization. So we need to build our own website, we need to build our own crowdfunding, we need to build, and that I started noticing because I've been participating in different networks. Like, that's basically the common pattern of most of the organizations. So that's when the message for us of organizing as one world, one humanity, and that's why we are called Gaia, is like we say, okay, actually maybe what we need to organize and coordinate is from a global perspective of interdependence with autonomy, but with a lot of interdependence. So if we actually start to think as a global ecosystem and take decisions together, maybe actually it's going to be much more efficient. Maybe we're going to get those big fundings. And so basically we created a governance where every group, every network has one seat on the table or in the councils. So we are going to take decisions among any of these networks that already exist. We are not one group that are centralizing the distribution of funding. We are one framework where we are inviting every single network, in this case, or representative from these different groups that already exist, that are here in these calls, to say, what is your expertise and where do you want to have a seat and a voice and a vote, so that we can take the best decisions together. That's, I guess, the best way to put it for now.
Yeah, and we'll be learning from some of the experience of seeds in how do you get people to do holacracy together, where you have to form a proposal, and then the proposal is shared with others, and then people can vote on it or consent to it digitally as well as in person. So we're learning how to govern and make decisions together horizontally and throughout, and not all being together, like with asynchronously as well. That's one of these skills that we have to learn.
Yeah, Jarvis?
Yeah, thank you, Felipe. That was most brilliant. Thank you. I'm not sure if I missed it because I had a little blip where I couldn't hear something. Where are you on the journey? Where are you today on the journey? Like where would you consider yourself? How close to manifesting the vision?
If you ask me, I would say that we are in the point that we have, I don't know exactly how much, but most of the key connections to people around the world that could activate this kind of proposal with the right projects. Well, another part that is very important is that we have also understanding that we cannot only have theoretical frameworks, we also have to have very concrete projects or solutions like housing, ecological toilets, transportation, and so that's also part of the network that we've been building. We share those solutions that most of the communities around the world, like for example, the ecological toilet is the best example, is something that we find, how are we still contaminating water all around the world, and how, well, all about that, I guess. So these kind of solutions, how can we scale them? And this is part of what we also been doing, how to grow these, let's call them, solutions or companies that are non-for-profit, but still need to create a way to scale and to be implemented in different places, so like enterprises. So I feel, if you ask me, we are like in the middle, in the crossing point of many paths and many threads, where we have everything now we already connected with those, let's say, we already communicate with those threads, and they are all aware about this framework, and how are we basically one step ready to jump, to make the quantic jump.
Yeah, like so close.
So yeah, I would say it's kind of the crossing point.
And are you? Do you have the resources? I mean, literally the monetary resources available to you. Is that? Are you funded?
Yeah, well, the interesting part is that, as I say, we are already being offered a couple times this funding for this vision, and now we are very close, or that's at least what it's in the field, that it's gonna be very, very soon, or probably in a couple months, So yeah, it seems that it's getting there. We're
Great.
getting to
Well
that
done.
point as well.
Well done. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Because what I was feeling when you were talking is, and you've eloquently said it already, but there are certain people that have purpose. They came into this world with a soul purpose, with a soul model, right? Rather than a role model, which is what we are pushed into. And so some people are, at different parts of the body. Some are heart, some are little finger, some are knee, some are eyes, etc. What I've found is that working with different people, and really tuning into their skill set on that vibrationary level, and then getting them to really focus on that, on what their sole purpose is. So, for example, if it's bringing in money, or if it's network, whatever it might be. So some of the work that I've been doing is helping, and I'd be very happy to work with you and your team, is just helping to lift everybody up to really align with that sole purpose, so that they are not bogged down by the weight and the history and the programming of the old paradigm, in order for them to be able to, and us to be able to fly freely in our spiral, in our lane, if you want to call it old paradigm, but in the new paradigm, it's in the spiral. So, Felipe, I'd be very happy to work with you and your team, just in terms of what we've been doing with other teams, because that can just be the final piece, just that needs shaking off, clearing off, in order for that flow of abundance, monetary wealth, resources, wisdom, knowledge, whatever pieces are missing, for it to flow in. And so, if that feels of any use to you, then we could do it collectively as a group. We could, whatever feels right. But if that resonates, please do get in contact.
Thank you very much, brother. Yeah, let's
Yes,
keep in
definitely.
contact.
Good. Well, let's see. Michael has to go soon, Michael DiMartino, and we did want to hear from you, Michael. Just tell us a little bit about this Earthstock coming up. We're partnering with Earthstock, with Gaia Commons,
Great.
coming up in August.
Great. Thank you so much, Cara and Felipe, just for an opportunity to come and speak. So many dynamics, and these days I can really only go where I'm invited and welcomed. So thank you for that invitation. I want to acknowledge what that brother just said, that there's a whole human element to this work. And I, after 40 years of doing the human work, moved to Crestone, Colorado 4 years ago, right at the beginning of the pandemic, to do a 4-year vision quest of what was the next chapter that needed to be done. How could I do more by doing less? And I say that after starting a community regenerative hub in Northern California, 12 years of water protector tours and work, and trying to educate and inspire and activate people and get people involved, and helping them to reprioritize the aspects of their life, like food and water security, community resilience. We had a whole hub where we were doing alternative health. So we actually, at one point in our bioregion or watershed, actually had a lot of these things going. And to be really truthful and to the point, I walked because of the incredible amount of human drama and divisiveness and perspectives and opinions. So, I think a big part of this challenge is, we can have a technology, we can have a solution, but unless people have really the heart for it and the spiritual maturity, it's very difficult to get people to actually come into a space of engagement and cooperation and collaboration. I mean, it's very easy to say peace and unity, but when it comes to actually doing it, I find it a lot more challenging, although I remain optimistic. I've actually been called an apocalyptimist. And, apocalypse just means the ability to see what is hidden. And I think we live in a time right now where everything is being exposed from the old paradigm of what doesn't work. Things like the Me Too movement, what's being exposed around the disrespect towards women, like so many of these things, seeing through the economic models, seeing through the political models, just, all of it, everything is just coming to the surface. So after being here in Crestone, Colorado for 4 years and really just being in very quiet retreat, there was a communication about the 30th anniversary of the original World Unity Festival, what happened in 1994. And one of the people there was Chief Phil Lane, and that was on August 20th, the birth of the White Buffalo Miracle. And it was just a time where people started to see all of these prophecies or signs of this great change. So, I wanted to just emphasize for a brief moment about the importance of the human element and how do people overcome the trauma, whether it's ancestral karma, astrological trauma or karma, whether it's, traumas we had from being in the womb of our mother and the environment, from birth trauma to being raised as an adolescent. There's relationship trauma, there's business trauma. I mean, there's so many triggers and traumas. So I want to commend the brother who just spoke, because if he's feeling compelled to be that person, I think that's really what's needed. I will say right now, the Earthstock event is happening August 19th to 25th. You can go to earthstocksummit.com, because after doing this work, and it's great to see Felipe. I met him in 2012 at the Synthesis Gathering in Mexico, which was just a chain of events that we've been doing to try to raise consciousness. But in trying to raise consciousness, people get triggered. And when people are triggered, they like to point fingers and blame. So, there's this human element, which I call regenesis. And regenesis is the ability for new humanity, new earth, new paradigm, and new designs. But again, it's a lot of deep work on a human level. Sometimes we think about sustainability or regenerative. We don't look at the human element. We think about nature or agriculture or technologies to save the world, but very little do we sometimes just look in the mirror at our own shadow and say, how can I be more regenerative? How can I shed the past and the traumas and the things that don't serve me and move forward? And in many cultures, and here in the West, we call that social permaculture. How can we all relate? Being in the garden of humanity together. Some are, bushes, some are flowers, some are trees, some bear fruit, some are weeds. But, there's a mycelial network that connects us all. So what I wanted to share about the summit is we, through Earthstock, not just the event, but our foundation, are about to deploy real practical nuts and bolts solutions in various parts of the world with a team of about 100 people. So that's very exciting for us, because I finally feel like instead of trying to wake people up and convince them and inspire them, and I mean, that's a whole level of cat herding, we've been able to get some lions to the round table to actually say, okay, instead of putting all of our effort out working with people or trying to do education, let's focus inward and bring our superpowers together to do this regenerative work. The last thing I want to say, the interesting and compelling thing is meeting people like Felipe and you, Cara, is you are creating also an ecosystem related around economics and governance. So I'm really excited to explore what that connectivity will look like, especially since within our Earthstock environment, in the work that we're doing. And Felipe again said the word solutions. We have been gathering solutionaries to do very specific regenerative projects. So we're really excited about how we can bridge and collaborate and work together. And economics is definitely not our strong point, even though we believe in sacred reciprocity and energy equity. The problem is so many people are takers and not givers or collaborators or sharers. That's why 1% of the world owns 90% of the economy and the resources. And I will say there's a huge push right now for this globalism to control and really own and govern everything. So I'm really, thank you. I'm very honored to be invited on this call today. And it's nice to see some familiar faces as we all move towards building bridges and weaving together to be more successful in these collaborations and cooperations to regenerate humanity and the earth. So thank you so much.
Great. I just want to thank you, Michael, because you've invited us to coordinate part of the online portion of the Earthstock Summit for the which is good for the European time zone as well. It's at the 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Mountain Time, which is the 7 to 9 p.m. In Paris time. And so if you are interested in this conversation that we're having about systems change and governance and economics and how we can change those structures to uplift everyone, then we're going to be running a whole stream about that. So every day we'll build on the next. So we want to hear from everybody. What's everyone working on? What are the solutions? And how can we start getting into community of practice together and start fundraising together? So I'm just invite you, if you're interested in that stream, to be invited to that, then I'd like you to sign up on the Hague Center website at thehaguecenter.org/loveorganized, thehaguecenter.org/loveorganized. And
Great. Well,
yes,
again, thank you so
much.
much for the opportunity and the invitation. And I really look forward. I mean, we have 7 days to all of us to be together. And again, I know there's so many things happening these days. And of course, we have the beautiful technology of Zoom to communicate. But I will say, being together for 7 days on the land in Crestone, the 14,000-foot mountains, a place of vision questing and medicine and healing. And we are bringing wisdom keepers and grandmothers and other people together. I hope you can join us. If you're not, again, I want to thank you, Cara and Felipe, for stewarding part of that experience. And also others like Shannon MacArthur and others that are helping to curate this experience. And not just like we say for ear tickling, but we're really trying to see how these pieces of the puzzle and we can all work more effectively together. So thank you, Homotakias, and to all our relations. Thank you so much.
Great. And people can still register to come at Earthstock, the earthstocksummit.com. Yes, so join everyone there for that in-person real connection. Earthstock, better than Woodstock. Yeah. Great.
Erica has her.
Yes, let's go to Erica, patient Erica. Thank you.
Good morning, and thank you, because you are bringing together so much wisdom that is resonating so deeply with me. We did a fire here, a ceremony. I'm Two-Spirit Cherokee heritage, and during that process, I have begun to feel an energy source that I thought I understood somewhat. The word wonder was raised earlier. And that's the energy source that I am feeling so different, that is beyond comprehension, beyond words, that is communicating and speaking 24 hours a day. It is the energy of source, where all creation comes from. And I was immediately prompted to look around at the earth and everything that has been created and allow that wonderment to bring in the energy of source, who is indescribable in the human language. I remember what it is. I remember my time in between lives of receiving instructions when I chose to come back in this incarnation with the ancient ones, who explained what is creating a great deal of this is because we are forgetting through the birth process, we do not remember that we are an extension of spirit here now. And when we return into that energy source, it is where everything, no labels, no judgment, no condemnation, no agenda, other than the pure essence of creating from the only words that I can find in our language that can even get close. And that is a most perfect love. And I just felt so compelled to share this morning because we're receiving a message from beyond our human knowledge that every one of us are a part of and within that energy source. And we can communicate directly. We all have the ability to do it. And from there, we leave behind all agendas. And we come from that love in the center of our heart, which is unconditional. And we give from the abundance of the center of our heart in everything we do, at every moment, becoming that most perfect love, becoming the source of energy of all creation that always has been, always will be, that is everywhere, at every moment of every time. And when we receive that, we receive the abundance to create and to co-create together through that source. Not the understanding of the human word love. And with that, I am complete. And I send you from the deepest energies of my heart this love to all of you. And may we fully awaken to the original instructions and remember them. They're in our DNA. And thank you. I love you.
Oh,
Oh. Jarvis says, wisdom in essence, you are, Erica, a most perfect love. Aho.
Oh,
Home, home, home. The mother is calling us home. There's a beat in your chest. Release all the rest. The mother is calling us home. Good. Yes, so let's, if there's anyone else who'd like to share, we have a little more time. Or we could close it here. It's a nice spot to stop as well. Shonda.
Greetings, family. I'm running the amazing artwork of Kara. This is the theme for today in our event, Building Bridges. And I'm with the Earth Mother Network. We are a 38-year-old intentional circular economy community in West Texas. And I would like to invite everybody to our closing ceremonies on Sunday, June 23rd. I've put it in the chat from 12 to 7. Earth Mother is a beautiful coagulation of 13 different organizations, all in service to the mother. And we will have several of those in representation on Sunday. We're having a regenerative convergence open space. Our Dragonfly Guild, Clan of the Dragonfly, will be there, our Permaculture Guild. The Earth Mother Bioregional Learning Center will be there. We have a National Seed Bank Trade Alliance. They will be there. the largest seed bank in the U.S., by the way, the largest industrial hemp coalition in the U.S., and the second largest natural builders network in the U.S. All this Sunday, we would love to have everybody come and join us. Thank you much. And what an amazing presentation and gathering of energy here today. Much love.
Thank you. Good. We'll get those details in the chat. Thank you. Well, look, it's within the World Unity Week, right? Yeah. For Joan. Yeah. Yeah, Joan, what would you like to share?
Thank you very much, Cara and Philip and Harvis, Michael. Have been, looking for this type of solutions, the visionaries. And we are kind of, I must say, very much in alignment. Sunhub Inc. is a think and act tank, and also a for-profit social enterprise ecosystem. So we also propose a human nature-based solution, also called wisdom technology. Basically, it is like what you were visioning, Cara. It's just like the new paradigm we need to live in. And also like Harvis was saying, it's already out there. What we are looking for is to scale up.
That's right.
So,
yeah. And weave together, like knit it so it all works together, and that scales it out. Yeah.
Yes. So it will be really nice that we can, somehow get together to, check out where we are and how we can complement each other's solution. And with that, where we are right now, we just have that, like concept. It's kind of, has been refined. And now we come to the global community and can be evaluated and validated. Yes. And so we, the aim is to transform individual, just like Erica was talking about, that, bring that energy of unconditional love and transform relationship, the trust. So transform systems. That's where we are today. So, we are trying to, why this is a for-profit? It is using conscious business as a driver to drive the economic system change, and which will also drive that, political and cultural and social and whatever, systems, like connected. So, and the last was transform education. So the education is going to play a bigger piece, to educate, to raise our consciousness level. So that is all. So we are at the implementation stage right now, and trying to bring that, is the global concept to the local doing as well. We will be, doing that community economic development as a local as a pilot project. And this is a global vision for 40 years.
Yes. Yeah, I feel all these global visions are like 10 months pregnant. Like they're so ready, and they're so ready to come into the world now, and the world is ready for them right now. So I think getting together and fundraising together and activating, we can do this together. So.
Yes, thank you.
Yes. Say again the country you're in and the name of the project.
I'm in Canada and in Ottawa. So it's a human nature-based solution. We call the Sunhub Inc. You can see that name, name beside. It's a Sunhub Inc. So it's a human nature-based solution. Also, wisdom technology. It is to bridge that technological innovation with social innovation. So. Great. And we also talking about the platform, like Philip was talking about. We're talking about a conscious marketplace platform as well, as
Great,
part of
great.
this, initiative.
Okay, well, join in, sign up so that you're on the list so that we can all be co-creating together. Dig in. We want to dig into what's your platform, what's our platform. Do they go together? Are they different? Do they have different, is it a suite of functions so we can all focus in our lane? So let's have those conversations and make it work.
Yeah, great. So I'm really looking we're looking into this Earth Stock, event summit. See if we can make it. I'll try.
Super.
Thank
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you so much. And Felipe, what would you like to share?
Yeah, well, I guess the most important part, as most of the sacred tradition says, this is not the end. This is actually the starting of this process and this weaving. So we really hope that you can join in one of these channels that we are sharing. Of these channels that we are sharing, we have a space in WhatsApp, we have a space in Telegram. It's a literally neutral, open space. It's not, let's say, focused on our proposals, it's not focused on organization. Of course, we are also inviting you to know more about this framework, where you can also be implicitly active in more concrete coordination. But these two are good spaces to start. And well, I hope that you can keep in touch with us through there so that we can really make this happen. Or we can also leave our personal contact, I guess, Kara, so people can get in touch. Thank you very much. Many blessings for you all.
Hi, cha. Yeah, good. All right, good. Okay, I think that might take us to the end. Does anyone else want to bless us? Great. Okay, I was wondering if, Erica, if you would like to do the final closing prayer, just a moment of grace to send us on our way. Would you like to do that, Erica?
Thank you very much. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Oh, great and mighty Spirit, creator of all that we enjoy, for the great abundance that you have provided for us at every moment, for feeding our minds, and more importantly, our hearts. Thank you for being ever present and be with each and every one as we work together to co-create and bring back the wonderment and to utilize your energy, which is perfect. And within that perfection is perfect peace, which is all that exists within Great Spirit. And be with us, care for us, as you always do, always have, and awaken within each heart how magnificent, and let it become us, realizing that we are in service. We come here to serve. Forget all of our agendas and tap into that energy. And with that, aho. Yatahe.
Aho.
Good. Whatever the peace salute is, we'll do that. I'll learn it. And much love, many blessings. Thank you. The next event is, I believe, at 6 p.m. Eastern time with a plenary, and then the co-creation circle will be after that in the evening time today. And then we'll join us again tomorrow at this same time for the Tuesday plenary with Becky Suzik, we'll be hosting some global youth and peace voices from around the world. And so don't miss the joy of Becky tomorrow morning. So thank you so much, and good night, good afternoon, good morning.
Blessings, family.
Unity Earth TV.
Yes.
Unity Earth TV. Unity Earth. Oh, come on home. Unity Earth TV. Unity Earth
Unity Earth
TV.
TV.
Unity Earth. We're coming home.
Beautiful. Thank you, family.
Thank you. Good night.
Big love to all.